Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
And a good morning at you, and welcome to December the 2nd, actually. And it's a Monday after Thanksgiving. Why are the schools closed? Public school. The one near my house was definitely not in operation. Please, somebody, don't tell me it's deer hunting season, and that's the reason. Please don't tell me that. But something's afoot, I think. So hope you had a good Thanksgiving holiday. Hope nobody came to blows around the Thanksgiving table. I guess our gladiator sport of football could have come in handy for diffusing some of the potential political mayhem just by giving us another kind of mayhem that we can actually get on the same team with. It occurred to me that maybe football could have that effect this weekend. I'm loath, as is often the case on Monday, to jump back in. I do give myself some free time, not obsessing over the state of the country and or the world. It hasn't improved much since last I saw you. In fact, I don't know that it's improved at all. I don't know. So where should we start? Okay, we'll start sort of seriously. Why am I definitely a Democratic voter, especially in these times? Why am I apparently, like an awful lot of people who will vote for the Democratic nominee, why am I unable to know who the better candidate is? And why am I falling out of love with some that I've previously been enamored of? Is it because, and I'm thinking it's because they haven't changed, my exposure to them collectively and individually has been constant. And I think because of how long it takes us in this country to do a presidential election and to seek out a party nominee, and given the 24/7 news cycle and the nature of our media, always looking for tensions and narratives to excite us into reading or watching or listening, I'm thinking that it takes all the air out after a while. I feel already like I remember the first debates and looking at that array of people and thinking any one of them would be so much better than the person currently occupying the Oval Office. And I still think that. But I'm not in love. And that's not necessary, is it? I'm not in love with anybody. Oh, I've had crushes. And then I learn more and see this and see that. And of course, the Russians are out there and other operatives are out there putting stuff on social media that I do ingest, not knowing where it's coming from. Little negative story here, little something there that gets Democrats fighting with each other. Divide and conquer is obviously an age-old strategy, and it works. It works. The Republicans are using it. The Russians are using it. It's hard to stay unified when there are all these forces working. And the stakes are so high, and you just want the Democrats to prevail, however. Any one of them. And I'm serious about that. Any one of them. I saw that 2 contenders dropped out today. I completely forgot they were in. Like, stop the presses. Former Congressman Joe Sestak has dropped out of the race for president. Stop the presses. The governor of what? North Dakota, South Dakota, one of those depopulated states, has dropped out. But there are others that are hanging in there, even though we are told over and over, are we not, that it's sort of down to 4? And do you think that's true? I hope it's not. Buttigieg surging. Latest polls show Biden back up. Warren dropping. Sanders staying, his base is as solid as Trump's. So you got these 4. I might add white people, 3 of them old. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm queasy. And there was a piece I read somewhere today about the fact that because Biden has a base, especially older. Well, no, this is what's interesting. Buttigieg's base is akin to Biden's. It's older Democrats. A lot of old people like this young whippersnapper. He reminds them of, the son they'd like to have. He's very much a grown-up, and he speaks so well, and there's a Obama-esque quality in his verbiage. Biden seems to have most of the African American vote, especially older African Americans. You know who doesn't have the African American vote? Why am I saying African American? You know who doesn't have the black vote? Black candidates. I mean, it's amazing. I'm just saying, in general, more blacks are supporting Biden and Sanders, I think, than support Harris or Booker. I don't know. I'm scared. I really am scared. I read another piece that the Electoral College advantage that the Republicans surely enjoy, it's like giving them a head start in a race. But some who crunch the numbers and look at where votes appear to be suggest that they could in fact enjoy even a greater electoral college bump than they got in 2016. I don't understand the thinking behind it. It hurts my head. I try to understand it, but it hurts my head. So, guys, I'm just flummoxed, frightened. I am. I admit it. Don't have a clue. I'm always amazed at how many people do. They know who the candidate should be. The hell does it? How do you know? How do you know? I don't know if it should be one of the burn it all down, Warren, Sanders, or if it should be the, look, no time to scare away any of the, in middle of the road kind of people. No time to do that. Let's keep it just good old-fashioned liberal. Better a Biden approach or a Buttigieg approach or a Klobuchar approach. I don't know. I wish to hell I did. But in a way, if I absolutely knew who the candidate should be and then I saw it going somewhere else, I'd be a wreck. So I'm just going to stay in my state of oblivion and confusion and uncertainty and learn to get more comfortable with it. I mean, the importance of getting rid of this president and getting rid of every single Republican office holder who aids and abets his anti-American, dangerous rule. Here's one of the reasons why. A poll came out. Oh, God. And stop with the polls. A poll came out. But this isn't about who's up, who's down, who's this, who's that. It was just a question asking Republicans what they thought of certain presidents, Republican presidents, and who, in fact, was the greatest Republican president. You know what's interesting? Stop and think. Stop and think. Remember a guy named Ronald Reagan? Really? Have you heard remember how his name was uttered every few seconds by any Republican candidate? His legacy, his popularity, his this and that. And when Republicans now are asked, who is the greatest Republican president? Reagan does not come up first. Reagan does not come up second. I actually don't know where the hell Reagan ends up. They might have already forgotten him. Because as we hear, and it's true, the Republican Party is no longer Reagan's party. The reality is now, astonishingly, that a majority of Republicans think that Donald Trump is the greatest Republican president and, in fact, better than Abraham Lincoln. Remember Donald Trump finding out for the first time that Abraham Lincoln was a Republican? He was shocked. he tweeted something like, and few people know Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. A majority of Republicans say Donald Trump is a better president than Abraham Lincoln. And that's all you need to know. God help us. Seriously, God help us. Can I do a few pet peeves here? It always seems it's over the weekend that they come to me because I'm out and about more, and I remember. Oh God, that annoys me. I've got to vent about it. Have you ever, like, as a customer, had, an experience, your customer experience? And it's usually with a pretty large outfit. So this would be like the last time it happened to me, it was an auto dealer. Or it could be a utility that you've, like your cable company that you've called. Usually when you call them, you're a wreck. And you're asked, at the end to take a survey. Well, usually this happens though in person. You've just had the experience. You've bought something, you've gotten a service of some sort, and as you're checking out, so to speak, you are told by the earnest person who's been serving you. Now, you will get a emailed survey about your experience today, and I hope that, you give me all 10s. Give me all 10s, because a 9 is like, the only thing they want to see are 10s. And here's what I want to say. First of all, if you have a workforce that has been terrorized into begging the people they've been waiting on to lie for them so they will keep, that's disgusting. If you're a company that creates that kind of anxiety in your employees or puts them up to that, I don't know. How are the results of any customer service survey that you get going to be worth anything? Because it's hard for me to have dealt with somebody, and then upon hearing that even a 9, which is like, I'm really happy, is not good enough, and that they could suffer in some way. Well, so I filled one out the other day, and I just did 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and then I thought, what the hell am I doing? What is that about? This has happened to me more than once. I got to have all 10s. And you know what was interesting? Is one of the myriad questions that I was asked to rate was, did your service representative in any way suggest that you give them all 10s? I'm not kidding. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to say that. I don't want to be responsible. I hate corporate America. I'm sorry. The practices that are just the regularly run-of-the-mill kind of practice today is demeaning to their employees, is annoying and anxiety-producing to their customers, and I, for one, don't ever want to. As a matter of fact, I decided last night I'm going to write the head of the auto dealership specifically, because that was my most recent occasion to see this stupidity in action. And I'm going to tell him, this is useless. I'm sorry. That was one pet peeve. Milton writes, "Hi, Lynn. I'll remind you that you black people," you didn't mean to say you black people, although, man, I'll be an honorary black person any day. "I'll remind you that black people did not support Obama either until he won Iowa." Yeah, because they couldn't imagine that white people would vote for a black guy named Barack Obama. For the most part, Milton says, black people are more pragmatic. Yeah, see, I am too. I want to win. We'd rather support someone we think has a chance to win, especially in this dangerous and toxic political climate, than someone who looks like us. Neither of the black candidates this time have ever been convincing as possible victors. I thought Harris came out of the gate pretty, but boy, is she taking a dive. So just Harris and Booker, and they're both just can't get themselves to get into that top tier. Well, I appreciate that from you, Milton, but so are black people better at picking winners? Are you guys right about that Biden's the guy? If Biden's the guy, I got to tell you, the vice presidential slot is huge. Huge. I wish I could figure it out, but I cannot. Barbara sends this, the Oxford Word of the Year is not a word, it's two words. They can have two words as the word of the year? I guess they can. It's climate emergency. I don't know. Whatever. God knows. God knows there is one. Ooh, and speaking of that, found an interesting piece about how, California, the idea of California was always a place where the sun always shines, where you're always... As a matter of fact, I was watching some stupid show last night, and one of the characters actually said it never rains in California. There's even a song, "It Never Rains in Southern California," right? Well, that's how California has always sold itself. But it turns out that with the climate emergency, with the warming of the planet and the warming of California, that there are people in California who wish the sun would go away some of the time. So that now a valued commodity in California is shade. Shade. Something that will give relief from that pounding California sun. And people looking into this, shade, of course, is mostly gotten from trees. People looking into this, if you look at where the shade is let's take Los Angeles. If you look at where the shade is in LA, guess where it is? Right. It's where the rich people live. Rich people get the shade. Where poor people live, where black people live, it's hard to find a tree. There is no shade. And those same people are the people that are forced to be out in it. They don't have cars, and not to have a car in LA is rough. But you wait for buses, and the bus stops do not have shade. So, says here that some people realize that they have got to start bringing shade, especially to poor neighborhoods and poor people. There's a group actually trying to figure out how to shade 750 bus stops in the hottest areas of the city. But this is not surprising. The rich have the shade. The rich also, though, have the air conditioning. The rich are comfortable. It's the poor people. And trees are also, or lack thereof, a public health issue. The more trees a neighborhood has, the lower the asthma rate, the lower hospital visits during heat waves, and better mental health. You wouldn't think just something as seemingly inconsequential as the lack of trees can be just another indicator of how the poor get screwed. Is that caller still there? Caller, hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Hey, you were talking about the election earlier. I think as soon as we get, like Buttigieg, he might win Iowa and that. I think once he gets out of the race, because he'll drop like a, hot potato here pretty soon, because he's at 0 at the black vote. So you can't win the black vote, you lost the election. So he's not going to get that. He'll be out. And then it's going to be Biden. I mean, there's no other turn because they don't like the socialist stuff. So we're going to have Biden, and Biden's going to win. And that's how you got to believe, because if you sit there and think, oh, we're going to lose, I as some negative as I can be, I still, every election and every football game, I always think we're going to win, because I just can't put myself through that clear till next year. So I got the attitude we're going to win. I think we are, though, because I think the numbers are in our favor, just like that guest you had on last week. He has it. That's what I've been hearing. Trump is in trouble. He's in the red. He's in trouble in these states. He don't get the same people, and I think he's going to lose this time. I really believe it truly that he's going to lose.
Okay.
I don't know if that peps you up in here, but that's how I believe it. I can't think of it any other way on the
Okay. Well, I hope you turn out to be a great seer, and your prophecy will come to be.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Look, I'm not saying that Trump's going to win. I'm saying he can win. I know the majority of the country does not want him. It's clear. Even those who might like his policies, there's a whole bunch of them who cannot stand the man and cannot stand the environment, the toxic, hateful environment that has come with him. But the way our system works and the fact that it can be manipulated by foreign governments, by others with bad and corruptive intent, leads me to be nervous. The Electoral College is reason to be nervous. I just don't know. It seems, in my rational head, it seems absurd to think that this most repulsive and incompetent president in American history would gain a second term. But here's why that's not comforting. That's my rational mind. And as you know, we're not living in a rational time. We're living in a time of the big lie, of everybody gets their own set of facts, of shameless prevarication. I don't know. No, this person, you're not going to see me relax until we win. So it'll be the day after the election. If we win, I'll finally come down from my defensive crouch. I can't forget the astonishment of the first Trump win, where we were wrong, just totally wrong. So we were wrong in the candidate we chose. We were wrong in who was going to win. We were, not them, we. The voting machine situation has not been corrected. There's just a lot of reason to be nervous. And anyway, it is my nature. I even medicated. I'm a wreck, okay? I just am. And now we're heading into the actual Judiciary Committee taking over the impeachment. And that starts Wednesday. And the White House has already said, we're not taking part because this is unfair. Okay. But Jerry Nadler, who will be heading the House Impeachment Committee, is no Adam Schiff. They are different. Schiff is this very controlled former prosecutor, clear and obviously ran an extremely tight ship. Nadler is more of a let it go, let it all out there. Also, and I did not know this, Schiff's committee, which was the Intelligence Committee, is a smaller committee, and it has different rules than the Judiciary Committee. And the Intelligence Committee rules are much tighter. And because the Intelligence Committee is often taking up issues of, national security, and so their ruling, the committee is smaller. The kind of things that are available for control of a committee hearing are greater. Nadler doesn't have any of that. The Judiciary Committee is like the wild, wild west. He does not, by rule, even as chairman, have the same control of the committee and the process that Adam Schiff had. And so Republicans will be taking advantage of that and will be looking to create as much of a confusing circus as they can. And circus seems to be what they're really good at these days. So expect Republican narratives that have no standing whatsoever in the rational world to be out there in full display. I don't know. It's not going to be pretty. I'm just saying. Another pet peeve. And this is something that does drive me crazy. I walk. I have a dog. That's a big reason. I walk. And I walk on what? What do people walk on? What is pedestrians are supposed? Bikes now have their lanes, cars have the street, and I have the sidewalk, okay? I cannot tell you how many times I am on a sidewalk and I have to get off the sidewalk and enter the street and walk around a car that is parked on the sidewalk. Now, there are parts of Pittsburgh, because it's an old city, very narrow roads, and I can see where it makes some sense for a car, if they're going to want any other car to be able to use the street, to edge onto the sidewalk a bit. But the thing is, where I live, that is not the case. The streets are not narrow. And people literally park, and they park on the sidewalk. And this is in a nice neighborhood. And here's what I'm betting. Anybody who parks on a sidewalk like that doesn't use a sidewalk for what its purpose is, to walk. If I were a real jerk, if I did things like key cars, man, I have wanted to. There have been times, literally, where I am like trying to get in between a car and a tree and a this and a that, and it's because there might be something in the street that I don't want my dog going, but the sidewalk is for me. Jesus. Stop parking on the sidewalk. Thank you. I was supposed to feel better after that. I don't. Do you know what I did Saturday night all by myself? It's gone down, so you can't tell. I gave myself a fat lip. I've mentioned the dog. I was playing with the dog. We were tugging on something. He is strong as hell. I consider it great exercise, though. I'm pulling! He's pulling! I'm pulling, and then I don't know what the hell happened. He let go as I was pulling, and damn if my fist didn't ricochet and hit myself right in the lip. I mean, I almost knocked myself out. I put ice on it immediately, but I could just feel it like, I put ice on it. I drew no blood. But that's one of those things where, you thank your lucky stars that you were alone. That's one of those things where if it happened and there were other people there, well, this is what we know about humor, right? Mostly what makes us laugh is the misery of others. Or somebody, it was the classic slipping on a banana peel, right? So, jeez, pow. Unbelievable. Yeah, I almost forgot to tell you that because it's okay now. Jeez. Okay, just saying. Oh, this was a feel-good piece that I saw. It was in the Washington Post today. This is so funny. There's a new email server, and everything that I send myself, so I have it here, this is from the Washington Post, and I try to open it, but here's what comes up on this stupid server. This message contained some potentially harmful content, which has been disabled. Wait till you hear what the piece is. There is no this comes up no matter what it is. It could be a story about making apple pie, and this would come up. This message contained some potentially harmful content, which has been disabled. So I cannot open it until I then disable the message that disabled the email. It's a story about two guys. Somewhere in Pennsylvania, it is not made clear. I'm looking at a picture of them. They look like such nice guys. One is 88 years old, and he's the young one. The older one is 102. He used to be an ad man, worked in the advertising world. The young'un, 88 years old, was a consultant of some sort. They both now are residents at a retirement community. And they have created a CD, which you can get online, and I swear I might want to get it just to hear what they've done. They've created, they've written songs. And people apparently just love them. They organized a jazz band. They play piano on all the songs. They sing. The 102-year-old is the guy who I think is writing the music. No, he's writing the lyrics. And the lyrics are, well, here's one. I just love this. And I wish I knew what the melody was, but they're sort of like, Cole Porter-like. I mean, which is the greatest compliment when it comes to lyrics, okay? So here's this 102-year-old, and he's written this, and I don't know what the tune is, but here's part of something. And it's called I Just Can't Remember Your Name. You're so engaging, but we're both aging. What was once on the tip of my tongue seems to elude me. So I say crudely, it ain't like it was when I was young. I know I ought to kiss you, but baby, there's an issue. I just can't remember your name. I love it. It's a problem I have too. 102-year-old. I mean, he looks so happy. They've spent 30 to 40 hours every week doing the lyrics and music for the album. And, they're in Bryn Mawr. And I'm trying to say, the CD is downloadable online for $9.99. It's called the Senior Song Book. If anybody, I'm going to have to do it. The Senior Song Book. According to cdbaby.com, the CD version is already sold out. That went for $16.95. The CD, well, it's an older audience. They're going to buy the CD, right? And they're taking names for a waiting list for that. But, the lyrics are available online. Oh, here are some lyrics. Oh, my God. Here's a song called Wonder Woman. Help me. This is where I like to be now with stuff like this. I mean, this is called Wonder Woman. You don't read the Sunday book review to pick your books, and you don't need fancy makeup to improve your looks, and you never talk to me like you were baby Snooks. You're a Wonder Woman to me. You can do a crossword puzzle while you're eating lunch. You can pick the Derby winner simply on a hunch. Play a hand of poker with a rough, tough barroom bunch. You're a Wonder Woman to me. I love these guys. You have me bedazzled. How come you're never frazzled? You can eat a box of chocolates, but don't gain weight. You can drive a car in traffic and you're never late. Seems there isn't anything, my friend, that you can't do. Do you wonder, woman, why I love you? cute is that? Okay, one more verse of Wonder Woman, and I'll leave you alone. When you fly across to London, it's to see the Queen. And the Queen politely asks you, honey, where have you been? You reply, Your Majesty, where I can make the scene. You're a Wonder Woman to me. When your banker came and told you you were overspent, you replied, I'm going to pay you every doggone cent. Next day they elected you the president, and you are a Wonder Woman to me. If you disappeared quite suddenly without a trace, I would find you if I had to go to outer space, bring you back with me to lots of old-time hoop-de-doo. Never wonder, woman, why I love you. I'm telling ya, I love these guys. Okay, so there it is. A senior songbook. Never too late for love. Can I do one more? I'm sorry. I don't care, okay? This is never too late for love, and I don't know what the tune is. I'm too old for running at 39, a stop sign. I don't know if that's true. And 39, a stop. Too old to settle for cheap wine. Too old for blurting out the same old line, but never too late for love. I can't wait till 8 for my dinner. Can't let my figure get thinner. I'll tell you why I will come out a winner. It's never too late for love. Too late for crying, sighing, denying. It's lonely when you're alone. I have a reason, no teasing. I'm pleasing the one girl I want for my own. I'm too young to give up and cash out. Too old for taking the trash out. Just whistle, baby, and you'll see me dash out. 'Cause it's never too late for love. I'm in love with this 102-year-old geezer. I am in love. I wonder if he likes young women. I mean, hey, baby, I'm telling you, here I am. Okay, let me get back to, I'm doing a show? I didn't even realize that. I thought I was reading lyrics. Hang on, I've lost my window. Oh, God, I hate this server. I hate this. Here we go. Oh, Milton, of course. So thank you for that. He's got a YouTube if I can't remember your name. Well, Catherine writes, I might feel a little better because our caller, who's normally a bit negative, I would say, right? Isn't he? I mean, I would think generally the caller is down in the dumps, angry. But she says, if the caller, Joe, is optimistic, then maybe I can be too. So look at that. You see, it's catchy, contagious, as it were. I was reading today about the two people who were killed on the London Bridge, and oh God, why? 22, 25, both college graduates, both working on a program to help people who were in prison. In other words, two wonderful young people. The one thing that made me laugh about that horrific story was that the killer, in part, was taken down by a narwhal tusk. Do you know that? The narwhal is a whale, I believe. And where this rampage happened was at the end of London Bridge, and there was a place, a building there, which is called Fishmonger's Hall, and Fishmonger's Hall has a lot of ornate decorations, and there are two massive narwhal tusks. The narwhal is a whale that's like a unicorn. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen video of it? I mean, they're these huge whales, and they've got this unicorn. They have this long thing. So there were two narwhal tusks hanging on the wall of Fishmonger Hall, and some guy grabbed one off the wall and ran onto the bridge with this, Somebody said, there's something very British about fighting a terrorist with something as surreal as a narwhal tusk. You know, we don't carry weapons in this country, but we do have narwhal tusks lying around. So, yeah, I'm just saying. Actually, the guy who grabbed the tusk was a Polish chef. So, there you have it. And just one more word about narwhals. Caller, I see you there, and I'm coming right at you. Here's just a little more, because I don't know that I'd ever seen a picture of one of these things. It's like a unicorn. So somebody's saying here, the beauty of narwhals is that they were always these really mysterious creatures. For centuries, no one really knew what the heck they were. And when they would find these tusks, they assumed they were unicorns. The tusk is, in fact, a tooth up to 10 feet long. It can spiral as it grows. So they're like incredibly beautiful. Some males have actually sprouted two. And the tusk has up to 10 million nerve endings and sensory capabilities. Jeez. Anyway, they are unicorn-like, not just in their appendages, but in their elusiveness. They are one of the mammals about which we know least. They spend the winter months dodging pack ice, where humans cannot go, and can swim a mile deep, twisting upside down as they descend into pitch-black water. They are, of course, under threat today because of the climate emergency, because the ice that they go to for cover is disappearing. The Vikings sold the tusks a lot. And the trade in narwhal tusks strengthened during the Middle Ages, when the unicorn becomes a symbol of Christ. Elizabeth I had several narwhal tusks. Philip of Spain had 12. I'm just saying. All right. So the narwhal tusk was part of the... Hey, caller, are you still there? God bless you. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, hello.
This is Dave from Washington.
Hey,
This is
Dave.
from Washington.
Hi.
I haven't been able to call you much lately, so I thought I'd get one in today while I could.
Okay.
I am, as I have pointed out many, many times on your show, a registered independent, because I think the Democrats are a bunch of idiots, although I vote for them every time because I despise Republicans. But there's one thing Democrats do better than anybody else, and that's blow elections. And I am worried about this one coming up.
Yeah.
First off, I can't really vote for anybody in the primary because, like I said, I am an independent. The reason why I am supporting Biden at this point is because I think after the turmoil of these 4 years we're in the midst of now, I don't need radical jumps to the left or anything like that. I need calm, quiet, competent presidency, and I think Biden provides that. As much as I like Warren and Biden, I think they're
and Bernie, you
is
mean?
a loser.
Yeah. Wait.
Bernie, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You think they lose?
Yeah, Bernie. I think they lose
Because
the Medicare for all is a loser. Medicare for all. Medicare for anybody who wants it, yes. What Biden wants to do is put Obamacare back together and put in a public option. That is a winner. America likes the Affordable Care Act. They really do. They want to see it put back together, and you throw in a public option, which is Medicare for anybody who wants it, and it becomes a very appealing policy. Telling people it might be the absolute perfect thing to do, go to Medicare for all. It doesn't matter. People aren't going to vote for you for that. They're not going to vote for you. So Sanders and Warren are not going to get. I don't believe they're going to win, no matter how good they are. And I don't want that much of a radical jump right now, anyways. I just want somebody to settle everything down.
well, what if the Democratic platform has Medicare for all?
Then they're going to lose. And that's why I refuse to join their stupid party, because they are idiots if they think they're going to win based on that. Just read the damn polls. People don't want it. Offer it to them, and then as everybody slowly migrates over to it and we just de facto end up with that, well, then fine. But you can't force it on them. You have to offer it to them. This is why I refuse to join their damn party.
Americans by nature are cautious, don't like radical change.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
you're
like
saying,
being told what to do.
huh? Yeah, or be told what to do, right?
You give them the option, and maybe they'll do it. But don't tell me I have to give up my private insurance for Medicare. Offer it to me, and in time I'll look at it and say, you know what, it is a better policy. I'm going to go with that. That's the way you do it. You make it available to anybody who wants it. But you can't force it on them. It does not matter if it's the best idea in the world. They're not going to go for it.
Well, the
But
left,
I like what it
the
does.
left does have a tendency to try to force people into behavior that they don't want. It's sort of like, legislate. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you make a very good point. Biden does not excite me, but maybe, as you say, we've had enough excitement. And maybe
I
just
calm, quiet competency right now.
I don't even know how
Everything
competent
after
he
everything
is.
is-
I mean, seriously, I don't know how competent he is. But he knows how it works. He knows how he can start to repair our position in the world.
And he knows how to listen to other people. He is very much in the Obama mold. I don't think he's quite the intellectual that Obama was.
Oh,
Good
definitely
luck finding
not.
somebody like that again, though. Maybe Warren. I think Elizabeth Warren has the best brain of all of them, but I'm not so sure how electable she is. But
Well, I'm
is
starting
like
to
a big
wonder too. I just, God. But isn't that interesting that our best bet is an old white man?
Yep.
Well,
Yep. Right now, I just want to get back to what we were. I'm not worried about let's have an exciting future and do things differently. Yeah. We'll get around to that. But right now, let's just put the world back together the way it was before this catastrophe happened.
but that's what Democrats always have to do. They always have to clean up the unbelievable mess that
we do.
the Republican administration has created. I give you George W., the last one. And we never get to do what we would do. All we do is clean up.
Right. Clinton, he had to clean up 12 years of Reagan-Bush and did a great job. And then the next Bush comes in and everything just goes to hell in a bucket. So then Obama comes in and cleans it all up, and now we're going to do the exact same thing again.
That's why we never get anywhere.
Democrats are very, very good at legislating. They're lousy at winning elections, and the Republicans are the exact opposite. They beat everybody, but they have absolutely no idea how to govern.
It's like those trucks I see. I forget what it's called. It's like disaster cleanup. It's like if something terrible happens in your house, it's like, that's what the Democrats are. Disaster cleanup. That's all they do. Because there's no time to
really do anyways.
That's all because it takes that long to clean up after these sons of bitches, these treasonous Putin.
Treason.
Yes. Okay. Dave, thank you.
I want to print up a bunch of T-shirts that say "I believe Putin," and next time there's a Trump rally, go sell them and see how many of his people buy them, and don't realize that I'm jabbing them. Hey, this is a good campaign slogan here. I believe Putin. Yeah.
Well, you might be onto some entrepreneurial score there. So, hey, thank you. Always nice to hear from you. Okay.
Okay, Lynn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. And thank you all. And I'll see yins tomorrow. And my sister Susan should be joining us, I would imagine. Have a good rest of your day.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.